Bridges, and I'm so super excited to be here. I'm just sharing a little bit about myself. I'm a writer, author, publisher. I do some grant writing, and I have the Bridges to Better cohort, which I am loving because I help other people share their stories and put their journeys into a format where other people can walk along with
A little
it.
bit about me. My name is Reva Mahardy. I was born and raised here in Columbus, Ohio. I was born to a deaf mother. My father was hearing. I have I work as an interpreter, and I also am a youth leader at the Ohio School for the Deaf. I've also worked at Columbus Colony Elder Care, which is the only deaf nursing home in the United States of America. So these things are really important because in my life, all of the things that I have been involved in always involve the deaf culture because of my mother.
Hi, my name is Afia Trapa. I am an immigrant from Accra, Ghana. I immigrated here when I was 5 years old. I am a social worker by trade, and I'm also a technologist. I dabble in data analytics and a little bit of project management as well. And I am the author of The Journey of Ama Kitswa, which is a children's story about immigration and how to make the most out of life's interesting change.
My name is Latrina Holden, and I wrote a book called A Successful Dummy. So that's the title of my book. And it channels some of the things that I've been through, like the different types of abuses, like physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, also teasing. And people told me I'd never be anything, I'd never amount to anything. However, that's a lie from the devil. Don't ever, 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 ever believe it. So know that you can, and don't use that as an excuse, anything that happened to you in your past, to say that this happened and I can't do this because of this. Don't use that as an excuse. Now, if there's some mental health issues, yeah, get the counseling, get the help that you need. But like I said, you can make it in spite of what people tell you. Don't you ever let anybody disturb or disrupt your dream, because you're about it.
Hi, I am Darius Sullivan. I was born in Akron, Ohio, raised in Akron, Ohio. I am a siblings. I have an older brother, younger sister. I'm in the middle. I'm that middle, middle child. That's why my book is gonna be interesting. But yeah, I'm born and raised in Akron. I ended up moving to Columbus after a little while of getting tired of being in Akron. I ended up moving to Columbus, and I got shot when I was 15. And wasn't gang related. Everybody think it's automatically gang related when I say I got shot, because when you get shot, it is associated with crime and violence. But I can't say I was any of that. It just happened, and I was 15, and so I still managed to do a whole lot.
Oh, I decided to become an author because one of the reasons I've always liked writing. That's one thing I've always loved to write, poems and like very short stories and things like that. But I realized my life is a story. My whole life is a story. One day I was sitting around, I was like, man, I've been through a lot of crap. Unfortunately, I've been through stuff that I shouldn't have been through. I mean, there were some great things in my life that happened, so I don't want people to think I only had bad things happen in my life. There were some wonderful things, wonderful people came in my life that was like, that's invaluable, like the information that I got from people or things that I saw and things like that. But what really made me want to write the book was just my story, and that was one of the things, and I've always loved writing. And I also have some funny stories and some creative stories, so I was like, I was gonna do that. That was some of the stuff I was talking about doing comedy at first. But then I was like, I want to hit my story first, and then I could go on to the other elements.
Oh, what made me decide to become an author is I was in, I believe, the 5th grade, and my teacher went around the room and she was telling everyone what they should become. And so when she got to me, she said, you should either be a newscaster or you should be an author. So that did it for me because I was not coming on anybody's 6 o'clock news at that time. That was the one thing we had, like 3 channels all at the same time, the 6 o'clock news, because I am a definite introvert. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to be an author. And since that time, my goal, my objective has been to become a novelist. And I will share with everyone that I have not written, published novel the first. So I've tried, I've started, I've stopped. So what I decided to do was to write one poem, and that poem turned into my first book. And then I said, well, maybe I can write some children's books. And I have 4 children, so I couldn't stop at 1 or 2. I had to get all 4 books done. So that has just kind of kept me on my journey to writing and publishing. But I still am going to be a novelist, mark my words.
Want to become an author is, I am an immigrant who immigrated here to the United States very young. And so I experienced a lot of culture shock when I first got to America. And I went through a lot of different scenarios that weren't always positive. Struggling through school, struggling to understand American culture, and just going through a lot of different cultural barriers and not being able to understand how to make myself a part of the country that I have been brought to. So I wanted to tell the story of, my life, as well as inspire other immigrants to tell their stories and to also glean hope from my story and understand that, things will get better, even though this is a great big country and it's very confusing, sometimes politically, sometimes socially. You are able to make yourself an individual within the country and succeed.
What made me decide to become an author is I have a lot of stories. I've been through a whole lot of things. And when I tell these things to people, the reaction is so crazy. I can't even find the word to say the reaction to people. And a lot of people told me, I should write a book or stuff. And when people say things like that, if you're not on it, it doesn't really register to you. It's just something that you hear. So it wasn't really nothing at the time. But as I grew and went through different things and added more things to my life, I started to tell myself, I need to write a book. I think I'm interesting enough to write a book. Plus being in the wheelchair, people, I'm a book myself being judged. And they always say don't judge a book by its cover, but you can't help but judge a book by its cover when you're looking at somebody in a wheelchair. So, I am definitely writing my book to tell my side of being in the wheelchair. Because everybody in a wheelchair are not the same. That's one thing I definitely always want to get across. If you meet a guy in a wheelchair and he stink or whatever, don't think, oh my God, all people in a wheelchair probably stink. No, that was him.
Well, I decided to become an author because I have such a great story to tell. And my mother has a story to tell. And she's always been a storytelling person. She would always tell us about her past and where she grew up and how she became deaf. And so listening to this over and over again, I started to begin to think, Mom, you need to write this down for me, And so she did. Now my mom being a deaf woman, she did not get a full education. She did go to the Ohio School for the Deaf, but she also went to the West Virginia School for Color. But then she had to move here to Ohio, but she didn't get to finish. And so when she writes, her English, that's not her first language. Sign language is her first language, American Sign Language. And so therefore I would have to take and make sure that I change it. So that's why we have to work together to do that.
My book that I'm writing is a memoir about myself. Like I say, all the things that I've been through in life and the stories that I have and the paths I've went down, the people I've met, all due to the fact that I was put in a wheelchair. You know, I always say that if I was regular walking, I would be a regular walking person. But I'm in a wheelchair, and the story that I have to tell from the wheelchair is almost like a superhero story. So if you had to, if it's gonna sound crazy, but if I had to choose over the walking life or the wheelchair life, I would choose the wheelchair life again. Because it's interesting and it ain't over yet. Ain't no telling what's next, I just follow God's plan. The name of my book is called The Wheel World. The word wheel, W-H-E-L world, the wheel world, life on wheels. It's kind of self-explanatory if you think about it. Being in a wheelchair, you almost kind of feel bottled up. But me, I was blessed to have the abilities to still get around and move and be a part of life and be productive and live an actually normal life. My friends that are walking say, you do more than me, man, so you ain't normal. So, I've been blessed to be in my situation and still to be able to have done all the things that I've done. So that's what my book is about.
Yes, definitely. So I want to share with you today my calendar, and it is Damsel in Distress. And the reason for that name, well, there's a few reasons for the names, kind of like a double entendre, like I'm a rat, but I'm not. So basically, damsels in distress usually do not look like me. Usually I do not get the opportunity to see myself in film, in books, in commercials as the damsel in distress. As a Black woman, we are singled out to be the strong one, to be the angry one, to be the over-sexualized one, but not the one who is in need of help or who is even worthy of help and assistance, from someone to come and rescue us, be that a hero or anyone else in the community. Oftentimes we are looked at as the heroine, and we kind of carry the family and the community on our backs. But what we can do as Black women is support ourselves, love ourselves, cheer ourselves up on, and we can also be damsels in distress. So the reason for the dress is I am a lover of fashion, and during the pandemic, I did pivot from the work I was doing as an author and publishing, and I started doing some fashion stuff, and I just wanted to kind of combine the two. So here we go, Damsel in Distress. And it is a calendar, and it has different months, and it has poetry and some different sayings, just to, again, uplift us, for us, by us, to us, all the things.
So the book's title is called The Journey of Ama Kitwa. It tells the story of a young girl named Ama, which means a girl born on Saturday in Tree, which is the home language of Ghana. It is her story of just receiving news from her parents one day that she's gonna be moving to a different country, and all of the emotions that she goes through and all of the different scenarios that she goes through as she navigates her life's journey. This is book one in a series of the Journey of Ama Kitwa series. It has sold over 500 copies to date. And I am excited to continue the series as well.
My book is going to be about my mother growing up and the struggles that she went through as a Black deaf woman. And that's why I also mentioned the West Virginia School for Color, because at that time, the Black students and the white students couldn't go to the same school. So that's going to be an interesting piece in there to hear about that. And I just want to make sure that my mom's story is told, and be able to help other Black deaf women out there who may have went through some of the same struggles to realize that they are not alone, and also see how she was able to overcome those obstacles, because even though she was deaf and had to go through the struggles of being a Black woman in America, she raised 6 children successfully, and I just think it's a great story that people will want to hear about, because most of the time when I start telling people, they always want to ask, like, your mom drives, like, how does she drive? A lot of people ask those type of questions. So in that book, they can, be able to find out a lot of the questions that maybe they ask about deaf people. They'd be able to learn. And sometimes when you look back on the different struggles that we have had here in America as Black people, sometimes they don't even think about what the deaf people were going through during that time as well. So her story will be able to tell a lot of those things that we just still have questions about. I actually don't have my title just yet. Right now, I just got it labeled as Larissa's story, but I'm going to work on trying to find something that's a little bit more catchy so that people will know what to look for when I get ready. So.
Okay, my book channels, again, like the physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, and how it really affected my grades, how it affected, things in my life, like with the nervousness, the shyness, the just believing that I couldn't do anything at one time. But there's a God, and He put the right people, and I learned how to be confident, learn how to love myself, learn how to value myself, and I would never be arrogant in any way. But I had to thank the good Lord, for giving me this. Like I said, people used to tell me, you too dumb, you too stupid. But I ended up going to college, junior college, and a 4-year college, and I made it. I made it somehow. And I would say the dummy is for dynamic, unique, masterful, mindful. You can use the Y for unique, or you're always yearning for the best.
Wow, being a part of the Bridges to Better cohort has changed my life, and I'm not being dramatic at all. Stephanie Bridges has changed the trajectory of my life. From being able to tell my own story through this book, and also being able to support others in telling their stories. Writing a book is a daunting feat. I do not want to, make it sound easy, because it's not. But I think the Bridges to Better book club and the Bridges to Better cohort is an amazing way to get support with writing your own story, all the way from editing to promotions and marketing and data analytics, because you're not only an author in this cohort, you are a business owner, and I love that.
Oh my gosh. How can I say this? I know I used the word invaluable, but I can't explain it. Stephanie came in at the right time. We met in another class, and I was praying to God for somebody, the right person to come in at the right time with everything I needed. Like, I needed somebody to walk me through the steps, baby steps to the grand step. And that program really walks you through the program, of everything. They give you the data analytics by Afia. They have a motivational person, Nicole Carter, and then of course Stephanie. Stephanie breaks down everything, from the copywriting, the editing, drafting your book. Make sure she reads it, and she does like the editing and everything. So it was everything I needed to get started, from the baby steps to the grand steps, and it has been awesome. I was like, if we had a short period of time, boy, she was on it. She was on it with us, so we had to be on it, because she was on it. So I would recommend this program, the cohort, to any and everybody, because I think it's very reasonable, it's practical, and she holds your hands. That's so important, because you don't get that. People give you a little bit of information and just like, not that you need to do everything somebody needs to hold your hands every step of the way, but she pushes you to keep doing what you need to do, even after the cohort. As you see, I'm still here.
Man, being part of Bridges to Better Building Cohort has been amazing. I love every minute of it. I'm so happy that I was able, because I was able to be a part of this. I met the right people who turned me up to the right people, and I ended up being in the Bridges Cohort, which is amazing. I don't want to give up nothing, but in the book, I'm gonna talk about being in a music group and different things like that. And when you got a team behind you, like I did then, it's amazing. The everybody's on the same page. We all want the same thing. It's a big dream, and it's beautiful. So when you don't have a team, it's very, very hard to have plans and goals when you got to put all the pressure on you. And that's how my life had been, until I got to the Bridges Cohort group and writing this book. So it's like I got the team back, and it's like a super team. Everybody's excited, everybody's on it, and they all want the best for me, and everybody's thinking, how can I make you, get to the next level? How can I help you? How can I help you? And not having that for a long time, and then finding that it's like a family feeling, and I'm like stoked about it. I'm excited, can't wait to just, see what's next.
Well, like I said, I just want to kind of reiterate that because of you, Stephanie, and because of Nicole, because Nicole actually introduced me to you, and then knowing Afia, just the different pieces that you have, it's an inspiration to me. And I actually have other people who now are asking me, well, can you connect me? So now I'm going to be able to connect others to this cohort to be able to help them to be able to tell their stories. So I just want to say thank you for being able to put in your time and your effort to be there for us. And I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Bridges to Better really is near and dear to my heart. I can honestly say that, I pivoted during the cohort, but I pivot a lot, you guys. So I am an entrepreneur. I am a serial entrepreneur. I have been in business for myself since 2014. So part of being in business is not always doing what you love. Sometimes it's just doing what will pay a bill. That part. So with this cohort, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work editing one book. It's a lot of work formatting one book. It's a lot of work going through the process, whether it be KDP or whether it be a local printer or whether it be Ingram Spark, getting on the phone, if there's technical, just all of the things that go into publishing. So sometimes I'm like, ooh, do I need to pivot away from this? Still thinking about it. But the one thing I can say about this endeavor is I've never done anything as far as my business is concerned that has been as rewarding, that has really stopped me in my tracks and said, wow, I'm really helping people. I'm really doing something that's important. And even when I've written my own books and published my own books and done fashion and written grants and different things like that, it's never given me the sense of value or worth that doing this cohort has. And one of the reasons that is, and something that I talk about, is because of those centuries when we as Black people in America weren't able to tell and share our stories. We cannot get that time back. We cannot get those stories back. We cannot get those people back. So everybody has a story, whether it's a fictional story, whether it's a memoir, whether it's a children's book, and it's part of leaving our legacy on the earth to the earth. You guys know we are the first people, okay? We are the original. And another thing, I'm not gonna go too hard in the paint, but another thing that you need to know about God and about Black women and about Black people. So we are the first, we are Eve, and God would not be unequally yoked. Now you think about that. Who did God choose? So when you know that you are the chosen, and when you know that you have an opportunity to give a part of yourself back to the earth, back to generations to come, whether people read this calendar or get this calendar now, or whether people are doing research hundreds of years ago and wondering like, what were they wearing, or what were they doing, or what were they talking about, and looking at it as an archive. My work is here. My life is here. Part of me is here. And that is so important. So again, if I can help people get to that space and get to that place, I'm 100% on go. And Bridges to Better has helped me do that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you know, the first question you asked me, you said, tell me something about myself. And I started talking about my book. The thing I want to tell you about myself, I am learning to love myself. I'm learning to value myself. I'm learning to meet wonderful people like Stephanie's, Fia. I just met another nice young man in the class. Can you tell me the name? What's the name of the book? Wheels?
Real world.
Real world. Yes, I met another wonderful individual in here, and hopefully his book will be successful. But some of the things that I do in real life, I'm an occupational therapist by trade. That's my main job. Also, I bake. I have one daughter, and I love traveling, having fun, just karaoke and other things. So I love enjoying life, and I love meeting new people, and I'm so glad again I came to this program with Miss Stephanie Bridges. Bridges to Better. Bridges to Better. Bridges to Better. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Afia. Thank you, Nicole. But thank you. It's been invaluable. I'm telling you guys to do it. It's worth it. If you want your book done, this is the place to go. That's all I'm going to say.
Of course. I'm going to add something because I can. So one of the things that I always say as well is anytime I am being the facilitator, the teacher, the instructor, I always have an opportunity to learn more from my students than I have to teach. And I have learned so much from so many amazing people. I mean, from them just cheering me on and bigging me up, you know, every week, myself, Afia, who is our data analyst, and Nicole, Lady Extreme Carter, who does our promotions. They just big me up. They lift me up. They're like, it's gonna be okay, Stephanie. We gonna be all right. So they help to keep me together. And then just reading the people's stories are so amazing. It's so inspirational. And, you know, if I think of giving up, or if I think, oh, I can't do that, I can just think about one of their stories, one of their journeys, and I know, oh, okay, we got this. And then, you know, we become friends. We work together, we hang out together, you know, we do events, launch parties, you know, we talk, we communicate, and it's ongoing. So once the cohort is done, it's not like, oh, okay, we're done, see you later. No, it's like, you know, what are you doing now? What you working on now? Come back, you know, hang out. Let's do another photo shoot. Let's do some interviews. So it really is becoming a family. So I'm just super excited.
Well, as I said, growing up, my mom was always telling me these stories. So it's been a very long time that I have been wanting to do this. So when I found out about the cohort, that was like a light bulb went off for me, because it was like God was connecting me with the resources that I need to be able to get this done. Because a lot of times you want to do things and you say you want to do it, but a lot of times it just sits on the shelf. You never get it done. But because of this cohort, I'm finally able to make it happen. And if it wasn't for this cohort, I don't know if I would have been able to actually get this book written. But I'm just so happy that the way that the support that you have, just the structure of it, the information that they give you, just being able to be there to help you keep going along, because you're going to have those days where you feel like, I don't know if I'm going to get this done. But because of the cohort, I always end up feeling like it's going to happen.
Write a book. I can't say that.
That
If
part.
you got something in your head, if you've been through something, if you even could just think of some lies good, it don't matter. If you got a creative mind, writing a book and the funny thing is, I was so reluctant to write a book because I didn't know nothing about it. You know, I was scared. And that held me back for years to not even attempt to write a book because I had no idea of what to do. My fear kept me from doing it. So I made a post one day on Facebook and it said, don't be afraid to wear different hats because you never know what else you're good at. And that was a post from me to y'all, but it was really to me. Because like I say, you versus you. You can be your own worst enemy, you know, sometimes. And I had been my worst enemy for years. But then again, God's plan. Maybe they didn't want me to write the book with the people that was available at the time. He wanted me to be with the Bridges Cohort group. So that's how it worked out. And I'm glad I'm where I'm at. And like I say, timing is you know, you never can say what time gonna be when the right time.
Yeah.
Till you finally do it. And I'm doing it.
Woo! All right.